Hello friends, welcome back to Java programming. In this lecture we are going to discuss about what polymorphism is, and then we are going to discuss about two types of polymorphism. First is the compile time polymorphism and second is the runtime polymorphism. After covering these concepts individually, we are going to create the difference between these two types of polymorphism. As recall previous lecture, we have seen basically two pillars of object-oriented programming. First is the encapsulation, then we have seen the inheritance, and in this lecture we are going to discuss about the polymorphism. So if you have not seen my lecture related to inheritance and encapsulation, first go through these videos and then come back to third pillar of object-oriented programming, that is polymorphism. So what polymorphism is? Polymorphism is all about the entities or classes that can have more than one form. Means each class can a type of another class. Okay, so in this concept we are creating a single object which have many forms. So let's move toward the example. Basically what polymorphism is. So poly means many and morphism means form. It is a Greek word. So polymorphism means multiple forms of a single object. So if we take the real example in our real life, so water is a single entity that can have multiple forms. Means water can exist in the solid state, it can exist in the liquid state, and it can exist in the gas state. So one object can have multiple forms. Similarly, if we take another example, a person is an entity and a person class can have multiple forms. For example, a person in a shopping mall behaves like a customer. In metro bus, it behaves like a passenger. In university, a person behaves like a student, and in home, a person behaves like a son or daughter. So one person can have multiple forms in real life scenarios. So this is the concept of polymorphism, in which we have the reference of parent class and object of the child class. So there is a difference in the syntax as normal object creation and as the object creation in the polymorphism mechanism. So this is the theoretical concept, how we are going to implement, and what is the definition of the polymorphism. In that already I have discussed, that is many forms of a single object. So same person can have different behavior in different situation. So in real world scenario, if you want to implement such type of scenarios where one object can have multiple forms, so we prefer polymorphism instead of inheritance. Second, types of polymorphism. Basically there are two important types of polymorphism, and it is very important pillar of object-oriented programming as far as your education is concerned, or as far as your job interviews are concerned. So basically compile time polymorphism and runtime polymorphism are two types of polymorphism. Compile time polymorphism, sometimes also known as the early binding, or it is also known as the static polymorphism. Similarly, runtime polymorphism is also known as the late binding, or sometimes it is also known as the dynamic polymorphism. So these are the same name that sometime given to types of polymorphism. So if someone asking for you what is the early binding or what is the static polymorphism, so it means he is asking for compile time polymorphism. Similarly, if someone asks you about what is the late binding or what is the dynamic polymorphism, it means they are asking you for runtime polymorphism. So furthermore, compile time polymorphism is achieved through a mechanism that is known as the method overloading. Means this is the implementation that if we have the method overloading in our class, then it means we can do the compile time polymorphism. Similarly, if we have the method overriding in our classes, then it means we can implement the concept of
runtime polymorphism. So this is the basic hierarchy of polymorphism is categorized into these subtypes. So I'm moving toward the first type, compile time polymorphism, and basically in compile time polymorphism is achieved if our class have method overloading. And what is the meaning of method overloading? Method overloading is a feature in polymorphism in which a class allows two different methods with the same name, and if their parameter list are different, means we can have more than one method with the same name, but they have the different parameter lists, and similarly the type of the parameters can be different in method overloading, but the name of method remain the same. So you can see here the example. I have added some simple example to more clarify the concept. You have the same class, then you have the method with the same name, class 2 have the same method, then this class have the same method as well, but the parameters are different. This method contain one parameter, this contain two parameter, this contain three parameter. And here you can see that void my function, this basically method contains no parameter. Void my function, second function contain one parameter that is of type integer, third function contains basically one parameter that is of type float, and fourth function contains two different parameters with two different types. Similarly, last function contains two different parameters with two different data types for their parameters. So these are the basically the overloaded method, because if a class have more than one method with the same name, that is my function in one class and my function same in the class and my function third in the same class, it means you are doing or you are achieving the compile time polymorphism. Compile time polymorphism is basically compiler decide the execution of the function, that which function is going to be executed first. It is done before the runtime. Before running the program, it is decided which method is going to be called, because two methods have the same name, so compiler is confused. I have to call the method 1 or I have to call the method 2, but it can distinguish them according to their return type and according to the parameter list. After compile time polymorphism, there are three ways to overload a method in class. You can overload a method in three different ways. First way is that you can achieve the compile time polymorphism, or you can achieve the method overloading in three different cases. One case is that you can have a class that contains a method that contains two different methods with the same name, add and add, that basically sum up two different number. But you can see here one add method contains two parameters and the other contains three parameter. It means a class have two methods with the same name but different parameter list. So case number one is a type of method overloading, or it is a type of compile time polymorphism. Similarly, case number two, when the data type of the parameters are different. For example, first add method contain two integer type parameters, but the second add method contain one integer and one float type parameter. So it means you can achieve compile time polymorphism, or you can achieve basically static polymorphism or compile time polymorphism through case number 2 as well. Even the parameter list contains different data types for different parameter. And the third case is that the sequence of the data type of parameter. It may be possible that the first function add contains first parameter integer and the second is a float, but second function contains first parameter float and second as the integer. So it is also possible. Basically, compiler decides before runtime, or you can say it will decide in the case of overloading before runtime or during the compile time, so which method I need to call. add for the first function or add for the second function. There is, and these are three basically cases in which we can achieve compile time polymorphism. And by overloading method. Overloading means you can have more than two methods with the same name, but their parameter list or the data type for their parameter lists may be vary. I have not used the word of return type because return type is not the part of overloading. And if you do something like this case in your programming, then this is basically a compile time error. If you're going to add two methods, add and add, they have the same name, these methods have the same parameter, but their return type is different. First add method return integer and second add method return float. So Java does not allow this. This is not the case of method overloading, so it is an invalid case and compiler will throw a compile error during the compilation of the to implement this concept of compile time and runtime polymorphism. First I am going to execute the compile time polymorphism. This is already the code for my product class. What I am going to add is I am going to add a method. I am going to add what method? I am going to add override method for compile time polymorphism for compile type polymorphism. What I need to do is add a method that is public void, and I am going to add a method calculate price. So for achieving the compile time polymorphism, I need to override that method, overload that method. It means I need to add two different methods, public void with the same name, calculate price, and these are the same method. And what I am going to achieve for these two methods, I am going to pass the parameters, because I am going to use the int price parameter here, and here I am going to display a message system.out.print, and here I am going to print price without text. Text is that is the price that I am going to print here. And in this method, this is the spelling here mistake, I am going to print what I am going to print this override method. Means in order to achieve the compile time polymorphism, I need to add two methods with the same name, calculate price, but in same class, but I need to give parameter list different. So here I can use calculate price, and here I can use int price, and second parameter I can use the double for example tax rate, or here I am going to display a message price with tax is means price for our product including tax is what I am going to use. I am going to add the price plus tax here. So you can tax rate here. So we have basically overloaded two methods, and that is the first case. We have basically one parameter, and in this case we have basically in this function we have two parameters. So class function name is same, but the parameter list is different. So compile time polymorphism is traced easily on the basis of parameter. Now compiler decide during the compile time, as I am going to create the object of my product class. So as I create the product, and here I am going to call a method for the product class p dot calculate price. You can see that there come two definition. First is for one parameter type calculate price function, and second is two parameter type calculate price function. So I'm going to call the first one, and I give the parameter value that is integer price. For example, the price is for 5,000, and second I am going to give the price dot calculate price. Here I am going to mention the first parameter, price is 5,000, and calculate the tax is 150.0, that is the double value. So you can see that compiler is smart enough, it can easily trace that which function is going to be called. Either for the one type parameter, it basically copy this value into one argument type calculate price function, and this two argument type calculate price get two parameters, so it will copy these in two different attributes. So as I'm going to execute it, it will execute effectively. Product ID is 1, product name is laptop, product price with tax is 5,000, and product price with the tax is going to be added with the product, that is 5,150. So basically this is compile time polymorphism that allow a class to have more than one function with the same name, that is calculate price, but the parameter list can be vary. So you can change it also. This is the compile type morphism. So this is the compile time polymorphism. In order to achieve second type of polymorphism, this is a class with the same name, and you can also change the cases. You can use the same parameter here you can use type, instead of this I can use the int as well. Okay, so parameter list can be different or parameter list can be same. For example, I can use this with the one parameter double tax rate, and I am going to implement this just tax rate. So compilers is smart enough, it know that during the method overloading which method is going to be called on the basis of the values that we are going to give in the main program. So p.calculate first function contain integer type price, and second contain double type tax rate. Function name is same, but the parameter list contain different data types for the different variables. So what we are going to execute, if we are going to execute it, it will basically call their relevant functions. So this is the case of polymorphism. Third, if we are going to change parameters list parameter data type, then this is also acceptable. For example, I am going to give it double tax rate here, and similarly I can add this with price plus tax rate, and similarly in the second case I am going to give first tax, I am giving the first parameter to the price, and second parameter I am going the value of int, that is tax rate here. So you can see it here. Function name is similar. This is the another type of function overloading in which parameter in which the parameter have different data type. First integer is price, but here integer price is of type double. Here in first function price is of type integer, and tax rate is in first function it is of type double, but in second case it is of type tax rate. So it is also the function overloading. So when we are going to execute it, basically what we need to how compiler decide it decides. So first, if we give the value to the integer price, and if we going to give a double type, then it will basically call first function. And in second, if we are going to give the value of double in the parameter and then we are going to give the value of second, so it will call this function as well. So whatever the parameter contain the values, it will copy these values into relevant method for their classes. So both method execute, no function is override in this case. So you can see that price without text and price with text, so basically these two functions get executed. This is the example of compile time polymorphism, and